honey badgers. Okay, let's get into this edits vlog and kick this off. If you're new to the channel, I don't do these edits vlogs for every canvas I do. I just do them every once in a while when I come across a canvas that needs a whole edits chat to it. Usually ones that look like I'm gonna have to do some tweaking on the face, or if I have to switch a whole bunch of colors on it, like I'm gonna talk about on this one, that kind of thing. If it's something that is getting a little bit in depth, then I'll usually bust out the camera and do an edits vlog like this. So we're doing one for this one. I never plan the edits vlogs, they just sort of happen organically. Usually I will just start working on a canvas and I'll notice one little thing. I won't make an edits vlog for like one tiny tweak, but if it gets to where I'm doing like 3 or 4 areas or more of where I'm gonna have to fix this or that, then I know, okay, this has just become a project canvas and let's do a little chat about it. For anyone that's curious to see how some of these more problematic canvases come together. So this one, it's already a little bit tricky to work with because it's got a very finicky double-sided adhesive type field on it. So it's not too bad. I've been working with it just fine. But when I started looking at all of the details on this, I mentioned in the community posts that when I looked at all the background detail, hold on, there's a loose drill here I just saw. Pull that up from when I was working on this last night. When I started looking at the coloring system on here, how it was graphed out, all of the on here that's still bare, that is all graphed as 939. There was no actual 310 graphed on the canvas originally, but when I started looking at all the little things in the background, I'm like, this needs to be broken up a little bit, because you see this, like over here, there's her arm over here. This is supposed to be a little space, you know, like when you're writing or something, there's going to be a little gap between the side of your chest and your arm. It's still graphed all blue. You see it over here too. That's supposed to be her sleeve. There's supposed to be a little, like, sort of almost negative space in the background, but it's all graphed the same color. So that was one spot where I was like, that's going to be problematic. It was also all blue down here, but since that's table edge and I was already doing 310 on the bats, because those were graphed blue as well, because you can imagine it might have not been as bad over here because the rest of this is like lighter blues and grays in the background, so it still would have worked, but I just thought because they're bats, they'd probably work better as straight 310. There was also a few other colors that were graphed in the bats initially, but I was looking at it and I'm like, that's just silly. Just make them all black. Because I figured if you put other colors in there, it's just going to mess with the shape and make it look messy. So yeah, made all the bats straight 310. And I did 310 black in the kind of shadowed area of her hair here. I gotta fill the rest in because poor girl looks like she has a neck beard right now. So gotta fix that. Let's see, what else did I do? This was just a bunch of crisscross mess in here, the way it was graphed. So last night I was working on how to break that up better so it looked more like an actual dress detail. So I went in with, you know, what I call the oil slick ABs. It's that like dark purple bluish AB, and did the lacing pattern. From what I could tell, I kind of just eyeballed it and tried to make it to where it made more sense fashion wise, and made this diamond pattern there that was kind of graphed there. It was just messy, so I made it more sensical, and then in the inset put 310. So then I have to figure out how to break up the dress and the negative space behind her arms. And I was thinking about that last night because I was when I got to the point where I was getting a little bit tired, and I was like, do I go ahead and do the dress and the hat? Because I figured I was gonna already do those in the plotted 939. But then when I started thinking about it, I was like, maybe I should do the dress in like a dark purple, because that would still work. It would still look cool. But the dark purple would be enough of an offset that I could still go in and do the 939 in the background here. So I guess ultimately I ended up not using a lot of the 939 because the tree shadowing back here, this was also graphed as 939, but I decided to go, I don't know what the DMC on this was. I just found a random bag of dark gray in my stash that I bagged up from some completion, and I was like, yeah, that'll work. So I don't know. My guess is it's probably close to like a dark 414, but I don't know that for sure. But something in that range. Let's see. What else did I change? Anything? I think that's pretty much all the changes I worked on last night. I put a little bit of the AB in her hat ribbon there. That was also graphed as 939 blue. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking I'm going to end up doing. I'm going to look at my stash and see what I have that'll work for the hat and the dress, and probably do some kind of dark purple, at least where the 939 was originally graphed. I did the 310 black in the center of the buckle there, and then around the perimeter of the buckle did the pewter gunmetal diamond dots metallic around there. I was just talking about how in a different video, couple videos back, I was mentioning how I use a lot of those. I think it was when I did the mermaid unboxing, bath time mermaid unboxing that I just posted a few days ago. And I mentioned that kit includes metallic, these dark gray metallics, and how I was excited about that because I actually use them a lot as accents. That's what they look like placed. They are really cool. So yeah, that's as far as I got on that. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking the next step is going to be. I'm going to work on figuring out what to do with her dress in place of 939. Still going to do the 939 shadowing in the background here because what's left. Oh, the other thing I think I'm going to change is down here. Hopefully you can tell there's a book. There's a lot of details on her desk that are not coming through that well because it was just printed in so much of like a gray wash almost. So I will flash up a picture of the original artwork so you can see it's got a very blue grayish kind of overtone on the whole thing, which is a cool effect, but when you're trying to figure out what you're drilling, it can be a little bit troublesome the way they printed this. So I was looking at the details last night and trying to figure out what all was here. And so in the original artwork, you'll see that there's a book on the table. And then on top of that, there's like an inkwell. And then it looks like there's like some kind of scroll, parchment scroll rolled up. And then one thing I wanted to focus on is this crumpled up thing next to the book. And I'll put a little pointer at it from what I'm talking about. And in the comments, we'll play the little internet game of what do you think this is? Wrong answers only, because what is that thing? I was staring at that for so long last night and I couldn't come to a definitive decision of my own of what is that? Is it a rag because she's working with the inkwell? Is it a taxidermied squirrel or chipmunk or something? What is that? It's crumpled up, but it almost looks like it might have a face. So, because I had just started drilling that last night, trying to figure out the shadowing, and I kept seeing it next to the book, and I was just like, what is that? I couldn't come to a definitive decision myself. So in the comments, feel free to put your best guess down below because your guess is as good as mine. I don't know what it is, but it's in the picture, so I have to cover it with something. So it might be a chipmunk rag. I don't know. I really don't know. Drop cloth. I don't know. Maybe she has the soul of a ex that wronged her trapped in there and now she's writing the whole story about it. Like, oh, funny story diary. I don't know what's going on, but it is an interesting little aspect of her desk setup here that I'm gonna have to figure out somehow, because since I don't know what it is exactly, I'm not entirely sure on how to edit it if I need to. But in the corner here, hopefully you can see there's like a book there, and then a little squirrel rag, whatever it is, and then the parchment something or other up there. You see how it's like hard to tell what this stuff is? You can tell that there's candles up there, but all the little minuscule ephemera pieces and whatnot all over her desk, that's hard to tell. But there's a lot of the 939 shadowing throughout there that I still have to fill in. So once I get her outfit figured out, as far as color wise, I can go back in and fill in the rest of the 939. I think it I don't know if you can tell, it kind of trails off. Like up here is not 939, but it kind of trails off this way behind this candle here, and then on this side there's a bunch of stacks of books and stuff over here, and there's a lot of shadowing up in there to work through. But again, it trails off once you get to about there, and then all of this is a lighter color. So yeah, that is the next step. There's a star background. You can probably tell. I'm still debating how I'm going to do that. I think I want to accent it somehow, but I don't know. I haven't decided if I'm going to use like a silver metallic or a clear crystal, because I have a ton of spare clear crystal I could use. That could be nice enough. Maybe I'll do a mix. I don't know. So that'll be later in this video. But yeah, next step, figure out the dress and the hat, and then the little bit of background there. I'm gonna probably fill in this book here, because that's also graphed as a 939 blue, but I think because that's a book there, just to mix it up a little bit, I think I'm gonna go back in on the what was graphed as 939 and do a dark brown instead, so that it's more visible as like an actual book, just for that one area. And then everything else in there I'll probably keep as the standard shadowing blue. I don't think I'm going to change too much over here on this shading. There is a little bit in the bottle here, and I was thinking of doing just a little bit lighter blue within the actual bottle there. And then I haven't decided for sure, but I kind of debated doing the bottle in an outline at least of white crystal, just so the shape is a little bit more defined. So yeah, those are the areas that I have in mind so far. So yeah, let's start with the dress. Let me figure out the dress and the hat and the background blue color, what's left. Figure out the book, and then come back and show you guys where we're at. All right, come on back. It's been about a day since that last segment. I didn't do any diamond painting yesterday. I know, it's crazy. But just one of those days I got caught up busy with a bunch of other stuff, and just there wasn't time for this in the day. Well, there was, but by the time I could make time for it, I was freaking exhausted. So I wasn't feeling it, so I just crashed. But I'm trying to get back to this now. So a little bit of update for where we're at with this. Let's see, what all did I do? Put in the black, put in the brown on her book there, on the little border. This is still me filling in where a lot of the 939 was. I'm still not done with it, but this is as far as I've got so far. Filled in a little bit of the border there using different browns. These are all technically shades of brown. They're just different ones. And I'm hoping that's going to help bring those out a little bit better, rather than just making them all blue and this blue and everything blue. I thought it would look a little bit nicer if we do some different shades of brown just on the binding there. The other colors I'm probably not going to mess with too much. I'll probably keep those as graft, but I guess I won't really know until I get into that part. I decided to make her dress, it looks kind of blue in the camera, but I think it's actually a level of purple. This is, I think it's 791 I was using from my spares. 791 or 792. They're pretty close in color. I'm thinking I pulled 791. So yeah, that's what I ended up deciding to do for her dress, and ultimately her hat. Once I get that finished, filled in, I still have to do part of her sleeve, as you can see there, and then fill in the rest of her hat. And then let's see, there's a little bit of 939 shadowing up in here that I'll still need to do, just a little bit. I started filling it in a little bit here, so you can kind of see the color difference between the blue I used on her dress and then the dark blue that's going to be in the shadowing. I'm trying to go slow on this because like I said, it's hard to tell where all the stuff is just from the way the art was printed on the canvas. So I actually, I have my computer next to me, and I have the, what do you call it, the original artwork piece pulled up on screen. And every so often when I get to a section that I don't remember quite what was sitting there, I'll pull it up and look at it so that I can get the color definition as close as possible to what it was meant to look like. And it's just helping me out because, yeah, I can't just looking at this as like, because you know, when you're doing diamond painting and your eyes are up close to stuff, you can get a little bit of eye fatigue. And with this being as sort of gray and washed out as it is, it's hard to remember what you're building over here. I can tell there's like stacks of books and candles over there, but I know there was a bunch of little stuff worked in there too. So I've been using the reference image to figure out where I need to break up the shading. So yeah, that's what's made this a little bit of a project canvas. I'm still really liking it. I really like how the bluish purple is coming out on her dress. I think that's going to help it stand out a lot better. I also did a little bit in the bottle here. Really love how the bottle came out because I actually put in a few super rich blue crystals in there as well to kind of make like a bubbly effect, I guess. So there's a combination in there of 939. I think I put the 939 in there, and those really deep blue crystals, and then the oil slick ABs mixed in. And then I'm still debating. I'm leaning towards I will probably outline the bottle in white crystal, and then after that I will probably just leave the other colors as is because I don't want this to be entirely crystallized. I just wanted certain areas to pop out a little bit better than how they were graphed. So yeah, that's where we are with Witch Girl right now. So still working on filling in her on the dress and the hat and the 939 blue. Probably do the crystal background just around that bottle, and then from there I'll just kind of eyeball it and see what the next thing is and give you an update once something looks different again. So hang tight. A little update from the last section you watched, which was last night. There's not a lot to say in this part. I didn't get too far again last night before I got tired again, but I did finish her dress as far as all of where the 939 was supposed to be. It was 791 bluish purple from my stash that I ended up using. So that's what's in her dress and hat instead of the 939 blue. So I got all of that filled in. Everything that's left is like the lighter color highlighting that I gotta go back in and do. But yeah, that's how. Let's see if I can turn up the light a little bit. I don't know if that'll help. So you can see the purplish effect. And then I had those AB highlights I put in. And those little dots are just obviously sections I haven't filled in yet of a different color, so that'll level out a little bit later. So yeah, that's how it's coming out so far. Loving the purple on there. I did debate just doing straight traditional witchy black hat and dress, but I'm actually feeling this dark purple here with the black accents instead. I like it. So yeah, did that. Filled in all of the rest of the 939 shadowing that was left. So the items are starting to pop out a little bit better as far as the outline of them. It's getting a little bit easier to see them. I went ahead and did do the crystal accents around the bottle, because when I was looking at it, the way it was graphed, there was actually about 4 different colors making the outer rim of that bottle. And I was like, yeah, I should just make it easy on myself and just make that one thing. So yeah, put a clear crystal accent on that. I think it works real nice. So that's pretty much all I got to last night before the fatigue started hitting me from the day. And so today, I think what I want to work on, or at least start with, is I can show you down here. See where the 5s are? That's scattered all over this. It's up in the trees here. And 500, or 5 is listed as 500. 500 is a very dark green in the DMC color code. So yeah, that's going to be like, well, at least up in the trees, that's going to be like leaves and stuff coming down. And then this is the, you know, the little potion bottle. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do, and it's also scattered in the skyline, interestingly enough. So I think what I'm going to do is start with that, put all the 500 in, and then see if there's a section I can show you. Down in the book, you might be able to see it. The 1 and the 3, those are, you might be able to see them all right in camera, but those are super faint in person. So that's my goal so far, is this next step is to put the 500 in and then work out the 3 and the 1. 3 is 413 and 1 is 317. So they're just gray accent colors or background colors. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do, is try to get those knocked out so that the colors that are a little bit easier to see pop out a little bit better, and maybe make a little bit more progress that way. So as far as color wise, it might not be the most exciting work right now because it's just gray, but it's one of those things where they're there for a reason. So once you put the detail colors, the accent colors in, they do make an impact, even though you know, by themselves you might say it's just gray. You know, it's the same thing as like when you put like when you do diamond art where you put a strong black border around something, and when you look at it, it's just like in the tray it's just 310 black, but when it's on the canvas and it borders out something, you can see in front of you that I'm like, oh yeah, that made a hell of a difference. So that kind of thing. They serve their purpose, you know? So yeah, that's the game plan for this next section of this, is to put in the dark green and the gray and see where we're at from there. Because I know there's also a couple in here that are 646 and 647. They're kind of in that brownish neutral tone. There's also a bunch of that in here. So that might be the next step after the grays, but yeah, let's put in the gray and the green and see what it looks like after that. Right. Little progress update from last night. Canvas is a little slow going since the symbols are kind of hard to see on this one. Took me what felt like ages last night, but I filled in the bulk of the background. Did the 317 gray and the 413 gray, that's all put in. The 550 dark green is in there. I don't know how well that's coming through in the gray. And then I also did 336 blue, which is what the bulk of that background is. So down below, down in here is the 939 shadowing, and then the arc around her is all 336 blue. So put all that in. It also filled out the shadowing in her hat and some on her sleeves. So yeah, that was yesterday's progress. That took me a good bulk of the day yesterday, in between doing other stuff, to get all just those few colors in. But I feel like it's starting to look like stuff now. We're starting to see shapes come through. I feel like we're inching towards the finish line on this one. I don't think there's too many colors left. I've been doing 2 colors at a time to try to feel like I'm getting more progress. And so I'm thinking the next ones I'm going to do, I debated doing the H's because the H's are very faint as well. That's usually my process on smaller canvases. I try to start with the symbols that are hardest to see, knock all those out, and then try to make it as smooth sailing as possible the rest of the way out. So I was thinking maybe H, but then I noticed G is really faint as well. So I may do G in there next, or K. K was another one I was thinking of. I'm thinking I might go ahead and do G and H, knock those out, because I think those are the faintest ones left. I think most everything else is a little bit clearer. K is a little bit faint, but not too bad. So yeah, I think that's the game plan now. We'll put in G and H, which is what? G is 779 and H is 838. So some brown family. We'll put in some of the brown tones, see where that gets us. And yeah, come back when got that shadowing in and see what we think. Would you look at stuff starting to turn into things? So yeah, what have I been working on today? I put in a lot of the khaki color, the background color, a little bit more of that. Yesterday I was doing a lot of the gray. Today I was doing a lot of the khaki color. What else did I do? I put in some of the champagne colored crystals up in the sky. Not everywhere, but just a few here and there. Up there you can see I used champagne colored crystal and also clear crystal. Because I mentioned when I started this that I wanted to do something back there to kind of bring out the starry night look. And then I also went in and did white ABs on the candles, just where the flames were. The rest of the candle I did as graft, but I was just worried they were going to blend in too much, so I wanted something that was going to bring that candlelight out. So just in the little bit where the flame would flicker, I put in some white ABs there. And yeah, that's pretty much what I've been working on today, is putting in a lot of the neutrals. And I think I've gotten it to the point where I'm not anticipating any more edits at this point. I think I've pretty much fixed everything as far as what I saw as maybe problematic in this canvas. I think everything else I can do just straight as is graft. The one thing I'm a little bit unsure about is I don't know how much detail. I mean, you can see a little bit, but I'm not sure how much detail is going to be salvageable on the table clutter. You can kind of tell that there's stacks of books there. The candles came through, but there's a lot of like knick-knacky stuff that was in the original art that is, I don't know if it's going to make it. But there's still some colors to put in. I think I have about maybe 4 colors left to do. There's little bits of confetti around the candlelight area, filling in the rest of the candlesticks here and on this side. There's a little bit left on the book and the table to fill in, and then the moon and her neck and face and hands, I guess. Just little areas like that. The moon is the big bulk piece that's left. Everything else is just little fill-in areas that shouldn't take too long. So yeah, I think the rest of tonight is just going to be knocking out this thing until it's a completion. And tomorrow I'll try to add in at the end of this video what it looked like. I mean, if I have any more big edits beyond this point, I'll throw it in before I put the final end picture at the end of this video. But if there are no more big edits, then at the end of this video I'll put in a landscape version of the completion look. I'll probably film it the same time I'm filming the vertical version when I do the completion reels. Typically for all my completions, I'll do a landscape version one specifically for this video so that you can see it here in this format. But yeah, if you want to see it set to music and all of that, the vertical version will be up as well. And if I remember, I'll try to link all of that down below. So yeah, we'll see how this turns out once all the little bits that are left are put in, and see if it'll fill in any of this other stuff a little bit more nicely, see if we get any more detail on the table. If not, it's no big deal. I like how she came out. I love how the candles came out. The book is coming out nice. It's middle of the night when I'm filming this now, but once I get it in the sun tomorrow, I'm hopefully, if it's not overcast or anything tomorrow, I'm assuming this is going to be blinged out, sparkling like crazy. So you can see a little bit of it there coming through. It's got some fair sparkle on it. And just a reminder, I got mine through Paint Some Way, and I don't think Paint Some Way is selling it anymore. At least I can't find it on their site. The link I've been listing is through FG Normal. I found it over there. So I thought I would just mention that in case you are interested in this canvas, but you're worried about it being a problem canvas. Just keep in mind that where I got it doesn't seem to be selling it anymore. So FG Normal might have a different printer and you might not have any of these issues. So just something to keep in mind. But yeah, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for completion of Miss. And yeah, we will talk soon. Bye guys.